I love the off season. RamView.
Out there, let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the February 14th, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions, call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair, having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. I love this time of year. Things slow down a little bit. Things can get kind of repetitive because everyone's kind of, we're breaking down the units. And today I'm going to talk about wide receivers a little bit. We've already talked about them. We've talked about running backs. We've talked about the offensive line. We've talked about all those positions out there, the position rooms and everything. And now we're all speculating on the draft. We're going to look at a mock draft that CBS posted, I think, yesterday. It was actually a little bit less like everybody else's, which was interesting. And of course, we got to talk about Kelly Stafford, Matthew Stafford. Who's the quarterback? Is it Kelly Stafford? We got to talk about Kelly and Matthew and, Yoko Stafford and everything else. Anyway, just having fun here. First things, I think it came on Thursday because Colin Cowherd's going out of town or he's taking the weekend off and he needed somebody talking about him, right? So, he dropped this bomb about the Rams and the Giants and everything. And first things first, you don't need to be Nostradamus to know that the Rams are fed up with Yoko Stafford. I mean, Kelly Stafford, right? They're fed up. They're done, right? She is not helping her husband. She could talk about anything she wants to talk about, but she is not helping her husband. And then he drops the bomb that the Giants would give up the number 3 pick for the Rams, to the Rams for Stafford, and that the Rams would turn to Aaron Rodgers in 2025. Hearing Cowherd do this. Now, again, there's probably some semblance in there to all of this stuff that we talked about. Yeah, the Rams are sick of Kelly Stafford. Yeah. If they offered the number 3 pick to the Rams, they probably would consider it. And then I guess Aaron Rodgers would be an option. But this is like a tweet that you see on X, right? What do you call a tweet on X nowadays? I don't know. But this is like something where they show 4 pictures, and it's Rosie O'Donnell, Maxine Waters, Sofia Vergara, and Elizabeth Warren. And they ask, who would you like to take out on a date, right? It's all clickbait, right? It's all clickbait. And it was just something I think Cowherd put out there just so you'd keep talking about the herd through Sunday and Monday when they come back. Feels like clickbait to me. Sensationalize some rumors that were out there. Now, I wouldn't give Stafford up for anything less than the number 3 pick in the draft. That's how great I think Stafford is. Yoko to the side here. And if the Giants are dumb enough to give the Rams a number 3 pick, great. I think you'd have to consider it. That would open the door to either get your hands on maybe a Cam Ward or the receiver kid, the Tatario McMillan out of Arizona. Just all kinds of options are there. But again, the Giants aren't doing that. I got to believe this would be the kiss of death for Joe Schoen if he traded the number 3 pick for a 37-year-old quarterback who is a dynamic passer still, but with a team that's not ready to compete. And that's again my dilemma here with the Staffords. It's like, don't you want to compete for a Super Bowl at this age? It cannot be about the money. And that the Rams would pivot to a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, who everyone's talking about his stats right now and his limited interceptions. The reason why Aaron Rodgers has limited interceptions is because he's adverse to making the big-time throw. The guy will not make the kind of throws that you need to make. Now, I go back to the Super Bowl year. Stafford was tied for the league lead with 17 interceptions in 2021. And even Cowherd himself slithered in there and said, throws too many interceptions. Well, it's the guys that throw the interceptions, and not every interception is the same. We know this. We've seen tipped balls and all sorts of things. but not every interception's the same. And when your interception totals are down, to me, it tells me, yeah, maybe you got the luck of a bounce here or there, but also that you're averse to making the big time throw. And Aaron Rodgers just can't make that throw anymore, or he refuses to make that throw. He's also 41. He's an eye roller, right? He's an eye roller. Does that sound like LA culture at all? I don't know if that sounds like LA culture at all. I am going to talk about the receivers here in a second. But first I'll look at a couple of things there. I got a couple of questions that popped up already. Thank you guys for clicking on. Steve Ramirez, answers to my question. Any Kelly Stafford fans out there? No. Okay, good. There we got that one taken care of. Bill, thank you for always clicking on, Bill. If we could swap first-round picks with the Giants and add a third-round pick and the third-round pick in 2026, I would trade Stafford to the Giants. You know what? I'm not going to trade Stafford. No, Stafford to me costs something, right? To me, Stafford costs something. To me, Stafford is worth a third overall pick to a team that's ready to win a title. And that's why I can't see the Giants doing that. But if they wanted to give us the number 3 overall, no, I'll give you my number 3, but I'm keeping my 26. Sorry, this isn't a salary dump. Even if the Rams were to guarantee the rest of Stafford's salary, it's not that much money. Now, I don't know what Stafford wants. I think the Rams know. If you lose Stafford and you go to Aaron Rodgers, if you lose Stafford and you go to Jimmy G, if you lose Stafford and what's the next option? Jackson Dart. Let's just say you get Jackson Dart. If you lose Stafford and you get Sam Darnold, you're stepping back from the Super Bowl. Right now, you are a Super Bowl contender. Right now, you are 14 yards and a point after away from going to the Super Bowl. You are. You lost in overtime, opening night to the Lions last year. You threw away a game against the Bears. This team is close, and you need Stafford. Stafford's the only one out there that can close the deal, who's proven he can close the deal. Yoko's messing things up a little bit. Yoko Stafford's messing things up, but yeah, you need to stick with Stafford here, and I just wouldn't make that trade. All right, what led me to this, doing the receivers again, was if the Rams thought Cooper Kupp could still play, they wouldn't be moving off of him. I saw something today where some GMs and scouts think Kupp could still be a number 1. Why? Why would they still think that? I think that's great. You know, Kupp has a press agent out there saying that. I just don't see the Rams. Why would they move off of Kupp if they thought he could still be a number 1? He can't get open. He's lost a gear. I like Kupp. I don't want to lose him, but his salary is an issue. So with all the free agent stuff, right? We've got Kupp on the way out, Demarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson, Tutu Atwell. They're all free agents. What's left on the roster? 3 names on the roster are intriguing outside of Puka Nacua. No doubt, Jordan Whittington, with his play, made a strong bid for more playing time. He really did. He was a 5-star recruit, had a lot of injuries at Texas. I don't think Puka Nacua was a 5-star recruit, but he did have a lot of injuries, and it took him down in the draft. So we want to see what Whittington has. Xavier Smith was getting looks on offense this year. He's a speed guy that can replace Atwell. I don't want to lose Atwell, but Atwell would be foolish to re-sign with the Rams. They're not playing him. He's in the prime of his career. He needs to go someplace where he can catch the ball and get on the field. And another name, and I dropped this name a couple weeks ago, is Drake Stoops, who had a great camp and preseason in 2024. Maybe he's a new Ricky Prohl. We'll see. But this doesn't preclude the Rams from taking a receiver in the first round. But it may give them pause to think about trading back and accumulating more picks. If Alaric Jackson is signed, if Kelly Stafford shuts her yap and Matthew stays, and the Rams are confident with what they have coming back in the wide receiver room, it really opens up a lot of creative opportunities in the draft. A wide receiver could be taken in the 3rd round. A trade back from 26 picks up another pick, probably in the first 100, that gives the Rams 4 picks in the top 100. And maybe, likely, opens the door with 4 picks in the first 100 to a tight end, a quarterback, a defensive tackle, and yes, another wide receiver. I do like some of the options here that are presenting themselves to the Rams. I know it seems doom and gloom right now. No one wants to lose Stafford, and I don't want to lose Stafford. But if they can hold on to him, again, Yoko is quieted down and Alaric Jackson is signed, they're great options this offseason for the Rams. Great options. I want to talk about top 100 picks here in a second, but let's look at a couple of questions. Manny Vasquez jumped in. Thank you for joining us, Manny. In the Super Bowl year, at least half of Stafford's interceptions were tipped or the receiver running the wrong route. So his totals were misleading. Absolutely. The Super Bowl picks, the one to that he was going deep to Van Jefferson at the end of the first half. Did we not see classic Van Jefferson in that? Now, I guess his knee was a little tweaked, but we know Van Jefferson didn't contest for that ball in the end zone, right? He's not a contested catch guy. We found that out real early. Rams didn't skip a beat by moving off Van Jefferson when they shipped him to Atlanta last year. The other one was Ben Skoranek was playing, a 7th-round pick. I love Ben Skoranek. For a 7th-round pick, he gave the Rams, 3 really solid years for a 7th-round pick. Caught a couple passes in the Super Bowl, but was at the start of the second half, he tipped the ball that was over the middle. He tipped it, and it got picked off. But those 2 picks by Stafford, classic example there, Manny, absolutely. Again, you would think in the age of analytics, you would think in the age where they break down everything, there literally is, I use the expression big-time throw. Pro Football Focus has a BTT category, completion percentage for big-time throws, right? They break down everything, but they like baseball has the ERA, then it has a real ERA, right? How come football doesn't have, there's interceptions and then actual interceptions, right? I can't believe they don't break that down. Quarterbacks should be lobbying for that and everything. So, yeah. Steve Ramirez, I ran a mock draft and tried to trade Stafford in number 26 to the Giants for number 3, but was declined. Pro Football Focus, Steve, Draft Network, I tried the same thing. The only way I was able to get that number 3 draft pick from the Giants, I had to give up 3 number 1s to get that pick. Yeah. So, Steve, you did the same thing I did. The same thing I did. Even if the Rams wanted to move Stafford, right? You really think the Giants are going to give up number 3? I just don't see it. I don't know how they do it and keep their jobs, right? We all know, we cringe every time, and we love Stafford. We cringe every time he gets hit, right? But every time he gets hit, there's going to be, puts us one step closer to that one time he gets hit when he doesn't get up again or he goes out of the game, right? And the Rams' offensive line is solid to good. The Giants have Andrew Thomas if he's healthy, but do you want to go there? Do you really want to go there? And they try to drop in there Stafford's his brother-in-law or his cousins with the Giants now, like that's gonna sweeten the pot or something. I would, again, as I said last week or earlier this week, I would be really shocked and disappointed if the Stafford said, "Yeah, send me to the Giants," and I would be stunned if the Giants gave the Rams number 3 overall, right? And that's all I'd ask for. And if the Rams make that deal, that would be really the first really bad decision the Rams will have made in the McSnead era, right? They brought in Allen Robinson, but he was washed. They got out of the Allen Robinson business really fast. They missed on some other spots. They missed on some free agents this year. They were still a winning record. They were still a winning team. But you make a deal where you give up Matthew Stafford and you bring in Aaron Rodgers. I think that would be the first really bad move. Besides maybe, overpaying Goff too early, maybe paying Todd Gurley too early, maybe some of that. That would be the first really bad move the Rams have made since coming home. Something not expected in the McSnead era. Let's see here. Let's see. Manny Vasquez, I will always be grateful for what Cup did, but there's a reason they didn't even offer him a restructure. I agree. It's all business. It stinks. It's awful. As I always play the Duvall clip from from the natural. They come and they go, Hobbs. They come and they go. And it's just tragic. But he's also in his 30s. He's played a lot of football, and he's milked out of that body probably more football than he probably has a right to. And yeah, I don't want to see him retire. I hate to see him leave, but it is what it is. It's the nature of the NFL. Let's see. The coaches see him a lot more than we do, so we have to trust them. Yeah, and I think that's just it. You know, we praise the Rams front office and everybody for spotting a Puka Nacua and seeing there's talent there in the 5th round. Don't we also have to acknowledge that they're seeing something in Cup that's not worth 27 to 29 rocks a year? I think so. I think that's where we're at. Paul Richardson, if we use the 1st round pick for an immediate starter, what position would you go after? If Alaric Jackson leaves, it's got to be a tackle. That would be the first thing. But all things being equal in the scenario I drew up there, man, I don't know. Best player available, and it depends. Again, my feeling would be Alaric Jackson stays, Stafford stays, Rams should move. I would move back, right? If they're confident in what they like. Because, again, part of the moving off of Cup means I think they like what they have in Jordan Whittington, right? And the Rams have demonstrated in the back of the draft, you can find receivers. And so I would move back to 35, pick up another pick in the top 100. So I have 4 picks in the top 100, and then let it break down anyway. They say that the draft's loaded with tight ends. We've heard that, right? There's a few quarterbacks out there that might be a little bit more down the road, projected to be a starter after a couple years, right? Than Stetson Bennett. They need a defensive tackle. You know, if they were going to stay at 26, I know it'd be weird for the Rams to go heavy defense for the 3rd year in a row. When you draft a defensive tackle at number 26 overall, that would be weird. But there's other players out there that you can draft to fill those roles. And then there's receivers out there. I think Tim Burns, who's done a great breakdown of some of these receivers that you can see that, man, there's a lot of Ram quality receivers out there that could be picked up in the 3rd round. So I'm open to it. I love the creative possibilities of it, but it's Jackson and Stafford that are the key. Let's see here. Samuel Ansley, howdy, Joe. Stafford not going anywhere. Preach. Go Sam Ansley. There you go. I hope so. Tim Burns, Stafford wife is like Yoko and in his ear. She didn't like Cup being moved, and she is going to do what women have done since forever, break up the band. Okay. I don't want to go too far. Maybe I was bad. Was I bad with the Yoko reference? Was I bad? Some people say Yoko gets a bad rap, but it was low-hanging fruit, and I took it. So sorry if I referenced her. Was I wrong for calling her Yoko Stafford? The one thing that kind of soured me on Yoko Stafford was, why did she have to mention dating somebody to make her boyfriend jealous, which was Matthew Stafford at the time? It's like, let it ride, bro, or woman, let it ride, Yeah. Manny Vasquez, I saw an article where the Rams would get the Giants' 1st and 4th round pick for Stafford. Is that 3rd overall and a 4th? Preach. Okay. We can have a conversation then. Because then the Rams can make moves that maybe take them out of Super Bowl contention this coming year, but maybe set them up for the rest of the decade. Right? Maybe set them up for the rest of the decade. Let's see. Bill, what is Noteboom's status this year? His contract has been voided. He did all that stuff. So I think they got to give him 10 rocks, and he's gone. I do not think you'll see Joe Noteboom back this coming year. Bill, every team in the NFL needs to attack the Eagles free agents. Hey, the big one there is Mekhi Becton, huh? Mekhi Becton, they got a gift out of him this year. And I'm wondering, but he had a bad experience with the Jets. The Eagles believed in him. I got to believe he'll be going back to the Eagles. But, yeah, I like Mekhi Becton. Steve Ramirez, Rams probably could move back to 33, 35 for a quarterback-needy team. Remember, teams like taking a quarterback 25 to 30 over, say, 33 to 35 because of 5th-year option. Boom, there you go. It hits. Manny Vasquez. Yes, it was. Was that you saying that I was bad that I called her Yoko Stafford? If you say so, okay, I'll back off. Mike Negretti, what do you think of the Rams trade rumors with the Giants? Hit the rewind button, pal. I think it's silly. I think Coward put something out there to keep us talking over the weekend, so we keep mentioning his show and his name. I just don't see the Giants. I mean, if the Giants want to give up number 3, and as was suggested here, a 4th. Okay, great. I'll take that. You know, their fourth round pick and their number 3 overall. We got to have a conversation then. But until then, there's no conversation to be had. Manny, you're bugging me, man. Was I wrong to say Yoko Stafford? Okay. Mike Negretti, let's see. Tim Burns. Nike put 2 huge building-sized posters of Caitlin Clark 3 miles from where Angel Reese plays in Chicago. Nike is too late. It's funny. Well, the one thing I thought when I was thinking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and how they're trying to build that whole rivalry up, Juju Watkins is smashing it. The next 10 years, if there is a WNBA and they don't self-destruct, that's going to be Caitlin Clark and Juju Watkins league. I think Angel Reese is an afterthought, right? You know, she's got her McDonald's commercial. She's not talented. She's not gifted. She's not transcendent. She looks like a WNBA player, where Juju Watkins looks like something more and Caitlin Clark looks like something more. There should be the WNBA plus, and that's where Clark and Juju Watkins revolve. That's the Bird Johnson rivalry coming the back half of this decade for the WNBA, if, again, they don't sink their own ship. Let's see, Manuel. No, I was referring to the Giants' 3rd pick overall and 4th round pick for Stafford. Oh. Yeah, I like that. I like that pick. So I can still say Yoko Stafford because I think it's a good pull. There we go. Yeah, I think 3rd pick overall and their 4th round pick, I think you got to consider it and look at the options. If you do that, if the Rams ended up in the 3rd spot, there is a possibility for either Cam Ward, who I like, Shedeur Sanders, who I'm a little more shaky about, being there, right? Or you could take that 3rd pick, somebody that's really desperate, and maybe trade back. Maybe you trade back a few spots and pick up more draft capital. I don't know. Let me throw it out there. Okay, I'm Joe Terozin, a sports writer for 21 years, and now I do RamView thanks to our sponsors at Kistler Law, who've introduced me to all you guys. And so we say thank you to Paul Kistler and Kistler Law for their support. Be sure to check them out. Serious, it's happened to me. My wife was hit by a car a year and a half ago. Well, about 14 months ago. She was hit walking, not even in the car. I had no idea who to call. And sure enough, I looked at my thing here, and it was like, injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions. And actually, the truth was Kistler Law was calling me before I was calling them. They're good people. So you might want to check them out if you have an auto injury accident or something to talk about. And so we're grateful for them. There's every once in a while, you're always grateful, but there's some days you wake up, especially when I was sports writing, and got a check sent in, or I picked up a check or a check deposited. You just go, man, thank you, God, for letting me get to do this. And so I am grateful to Kistler Law. Also grateful for your support buying my books. The question came up is, how many pages is Sin Virus? Sin Virus is approximately 504 pages. It's about 110,000 words. And someone said, how do you write a book like that? How do you do that? I call it every day. Every day. You go to work every day. Famous but infamous Hollywood director once said, 80% of life is just showing up. 80% of life is just showing up. You do that and good things will happen. Thank you for supporting me with my books, guys. Please check them out. They're on Amazon, 3 football novels. And the other novels are going to see have a church bent to it, because that's what I do in my day job. I pastor a small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene. And you can find us right here on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, burbankfaithvirtual.com, and Burbank Faith Virtual all across social media. Okay, let's see here. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, Matthew Stafford needs to tell his wife silence Timothy. Oh man, now you're getting serious there. Now you're getting serious there, Michael. Let's not go too far. Michael Negretti, hit the like button and subscribe. Pastor Joe needs to catch up to Tom Grassi. Who's Tom Grassi? I don't know who Tom Grassi is, but I could use the bump, guys. Give me those subscriptions. I want to catch up to Locked On Rams. They got 16,000. I want to get to 400. There we go. Okay, something I did as I was prepping for this, talking about wanting to pick up extra picks in the top 100. I'm starting in the McSnead era, not the Les Snead era, which goes back to 2012 and Robert Quinn. But let's look at the McSnead era when Sean McVay and Les Snead came together. They obviously have a great rapport. That's 2017. Let's look at the picks they made in the top 100 since 2017. They've made 19 picks in the top 100 since 2017. Okay. So I'm going to go through this list and I'll give you my scoreboard after that. I'm going to break it down into wins, losses, and ties. All right. 2017, Gerald Everett, Cooper Kupp, John Johnson. Cooper Kupp, John Johnson, slam dunks. All right. Gerald Everett was productive when he was with the Rams. He didn't block, which is why he ended up in Seattle, San Diego, or the Chargers, and in was it Chicago this year? I don't know if he played much, but I would hardly call Gerald Everett a bust. Gerald Everett also scored the touchdown that won the game. I think it was his game winner. Was it his game winner that beat the Chiefs in that incredible game in 2018? So boom, 3 wins right there. 2018, the Rams drafted Joe Noteboom. I thought that was a hit. I was expecting it to be a hit, but I think this is the most disappointing I've ever been in Joe Noteboom. So Joe Noteboom was a bust. Boom, that's a loss. Okay. 2019, the Rams had 4 picks in the top 100. Taylor Rapp, Darrell Henderson, David Long, and Bobby Evans. Okay. Bobby Evans, we know, gone. Bobby Evans, speaking Bobby Evans' name is like speaking Jeff Fisher's name. Okay. We got rid of Bobby Evans. David Long never got on the field. He was drafted 79th overall out of Michigan, and it was just a whiff. Boom, he's gone. Not good. Now, Taylor Rapp was on the field the whole time he was with the Rams. Played in the Super Bowl. Was he great? No. Failed his contract, but he was a safety, so the Rams weren't going to re-sign him. He's still playing in the NFL. Taylor Rapp's will win. And so is Darrell Henderson. I'm not going to call Darrell Henderson a bust. Darrell Henderson ran for over 600, almost 700 yards in 2020 and 2021. Also, he made some key contributions in Super Bowl 56. Was he what you want out of a second-round pick? No, but Darrell Henderson was not a bust. I'm making him a win. 2020, the Rams had 3 picks in the top 100, and this is a little more dubious. Cam Akers, Van Jefferson, and Terrell Lewis. Terrell Lewis out of Alabama. Terrell Lewis, who was the Johnny Bravo of edge rushers. He just fit the suit. He looked great, but he had no eye of the tiger, and he had some bad knees. He was a bust, okay? Van Jefferson. I went back and forth on Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson was he got on the field. Van Jefferson made plays. Not a lot of plays, but he made plays. Van Jefferson is still playing in the NFL. I'm going to make Van Jefferson a win. Cam Akers. Cam Akers, I didn't know how to rate Cam Akers. I just did not know. I declared Cam Akers a tie. I'm moving him off to the side. 2021, Tutu Atwell. Atwell's taken his beatings. Atwell's been slammed. Atwell's averaged 40 catches each of the last 2 years. I think the Rams drafted him with some ideas, but they just never came to fruition. It's that McVay thing where we all like McVay. We all trust McVay, but we also know McVay can fall into those patterns where I got to run the ball. I can't run the ball. I got to pass. He falls into those things where I think he really likes Tutu Atwell, but he just could never find a spot for him. I'm not calling Tutu Atwell a bust. I'm not. All right. 2022, the Rams didn't have a draft pick in the top 100. They drafted Logan Bruss at about 104, 103. So we'll push that one out. 2023, the Rams drafted Steve Avila, Byron Young, Kobe Turner, all in the top 100. Hit. Okay. 2024, I feel very comfortable saying this. Jared First, Braden Fisk, Cam Kitchens, hit. Blake Corum, the jury might still be out, but you know what? I'm going to declare Blake Corum a hit. So 19 draft picks in the top 100 since 2017. The record for the Rams are 14 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie. Akers is the tie. The complete losses are Terrell Lewis, David Long, Bobby Evans, and Joe Noteboom, right? If Noteboom had played a little bit better and fulfilled some of his promise, he could have been a win as well. But the Rams have done really well in the top 100, and that tells me it's like, man, collect those picks in the top 100. Move back, and secure your team going forward. Amen. Yeah, preach. That'll preach, right? All right, let's see what else we got out there. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Tim Burns, yep, at Negretti. Okay. Paul Richardson, my impression of Taylor Rapp is he's always 2 steps away from making a play. I was relieved when he was gone. Yeah, he was not good in coverage. And then that last year here, he missed some tackles. Now, he's still playing in Buffalo. Buffalo likes him. But, that was my fear watching Cam Kitchens, right? We're going to see with Cam Kitchens. Remember, Cam Kitchens got benched. Was it after the Bear game? And he didn't play against Green Bay. But, the last 2 months of the season, back half of the season, Cam Kitchens played a whole lot better and was exploited much less in coverage. And he likes to hit too. We know that. Taylor Rapp likes to hit, but he would get lost in coverage. So, yeah, I wasn't upset. We knew that one was coming, right? He fit the profile of a Ram safety who wasn't going to be re-signed, but I wouldn't call him a bust. Tim Burns, Van is Tutu, flashes but ghosts more than he doesn't. I like Tutu better than Van. I thought Tutu's hands were better, more of a home run threat. And I saw Tutu make a couple of plays that were contested. I can't tell you of a contested play that Van made. He did have that great catch against the Raiders when playing with Baker Mayfield. But I wouldn't call them either of them busts. And I just wanted more out of Van Jefferson, right? I just wanted more. And it has nothing to do with me taking him late in the fantasy draft in 2020, thinking he could pull something. But yeah, he just wasn't enough. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, you rate the players hit, bust, or purgatory. Okay, I guess you can say that. I don't want to call Cam Akers a bust. He's still in the NFL. He had the Achilles injury. He had some nice moments for the Rams in the playoffs in 2020. But something about the guy, right? Something about that guy. It's like Frank Costanza, saying this guy, he's just not my kind of guy. I don't know what it was with Cam Akers. Tim Burns, Scattaboo is estimated around 80-ish. If he's there at 90, do we grab him? That's a great question. I wouldn't grab him if I only have 3 picks in the top 100. I know you got a thing for Scattaboo. Could the Rams be creative with him? That's the thing you want to see. Will the Rams be creative? McVay's talked about being more creative with the offense. I don't dislike Scattaboo. He's a one contract guy. If he gets a lot of playing time, takes a lot of hits, to me, he feels like a one contract guy. Most drafts that I've seen have him going around the 100 mark, 95, 105, someplace in there. But you get that 4th pick in the top 100. I don't know. It seems pretty exciting to me. It opens up a lot of possibilities. All right, let's keep rolling here. Around the NFL and other places, it's been blown out of the water. I'm sure Steeler fan Rob in Missouri was excited about it, but did you hear the rumor of Trevor Lawrence being traded by the Jaguars to Pittsburgh? Did you hear that rumor? It's not happening. They just got a new head coach, Liam Cohen. I'm sure he went there thinking, hey, I got Trevor Lawrence. There's something to work here, and I could fix the bugs in his machine there and everything. And then he's got a huge contract. But I thought it was refreshing. The rumor, which I didn't think anything of, but the rumor that was refreshing, the refreshing aspect of it was to have the Steelers consider making a deal regarding offensive talent, right? That at some point they realize, okay, they're going to let Russell Wilson walk. Maybe he ends up in Vegas. But really, I find it amazing. Steeler fan Rob wants them to commit to Justin Fields, which everyone in the AFC North is saying, please, yes, to football God's ears, let them do that. But to hear them actually looking for a quarterback who has a playoff resume, a small one, and a comeback in that playoff, yeah, it was just refreshing to hear the Steelers in a rumor, right? It would be refreshing to hear the Steelers say, you know what? Maybe we want to just have a conversation with Aaron Rodgers, right? It would be refreshing to hear the Steelers say, hey, you know what? Maybe we want to figure something out and move up and look at a Shedeur Sanders, right? But you just never hear that with the Steelers. They'll move up for a DT. They'll make a big deal for a Minkah Fitzpatrick and pay him 20 rocks to play safety. And you never get over the top, right? But something to think about. Something to keep an eye on as we are in that season right now where people are getting cap space. Remember, you got until March the 4th to franchise tag your team. That was the talk about Alaric Jackson. NFL Combine starts February 24th. And then the new league year begins March the 12th, and everyone has to be under the new salary cap, which they believe is going to go up about 11 rocks. That's going to be really interesting to see how that works out. So you're going to see teams, and I know you know this, you're going to see teams making cuts like, making moves like Leonard Williams being restructured by the Seahawks and the Dolphins cutting cornerback Kendall Fuller and Raheem Mostert and a backup tight end named Durham Smythe. They're all cap casualties. They could all still play, especially Mostert. Mostert's interesting at 32. He's still got some acceleration left. They're putting the street because of the cap. This saves the Dolphins 7.8 in cap space because they're overpaying their receivers. And surprisingly enough, Tyreek Hill has rescinded his desire to be traded. All right, let's keep moving on here. Recent draft site that I looked at, I can't remember the name because I've seen so many. We talked about this. Jackson Dart has moved up to number 3, the number 3 quarterback in this year's draft, and he's projecting into the second round now. Before it was third round, fourth round, but we talked about that once the pro days start, once the combine stuff starts, that we're going to see Jackson Dart kind of climb the ladder a little bit. I don't think he'll climb into the first round or maybe the late first round, but right now this one site, gosh, it's slipping my mind, has him at number 3. They got, of course, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, then number 3, Jackson Dart. Number 4, they got Quinn Ewers. This site really likes Quinn Ewers. I saw enough of Quinn Ewers. I'm probably wrong. I'm not going to say I'm absolutely right, but does Quinn Ewers inspire anything in you? Jalen Milroe now is number 5. I thought that was interesting. Will Howard. These quarterbacks are all projected between the 4th and 6th round. Will Howard, Riley Leonard, and Dylan Gabriel. They're ranked 6, 7, and 8 in terms of top 10 quarterbacks in the draft. But Will Howard, Ohio State, Riley Leonard, Dylan Gabriel. I thought Dylan Gabriel might have gone ahead of Will Howard. Riley Leonard's interesting. I'm more interested in, say, the Rams drafting Riley Leonard in the 6th round or maybe if they get into the 5th than I am keeping Stetson Bennett because I think he has more upside, but we'll see. And then a name that has really been thrown at me by more than a few of you is Kyle McCord out of Syracuse. I didn't like him at Ohio State. I didn't like him at Syracuse, but he's rated as the 10th best quarterback prospect in this draft. And he's projected between the 5th and 7th round. Lance Zierlein, I think they projected he would be he's going to be a quality NFL backup. Maybe he's Chase Daniel, which is not bad. Chase Daniel made over $40 million as a backup. Something to think about. The number 9 quarterback is Tyler Show out of Louisville. He's also projected between the 5th and 7th rounds. So something to throw out there. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, if Derek Carr gets cut, would you want the Rams to pick him up? No, not really. That's if Jimmy G leaves. Let's just say Jimmy G leaves, and there's no one to back him up. Back up Stafford, and he wants to come in for a rock and a half. Okay, you always got to give a veteran quarterback a look like that. I think the key is, I don't know. I'll let you guys explain it to me because I've rooted for Derek Carr, but there's just sometimes you wonder what he's doing. Jimmy G, obviously playing for the Patriots. And then, of course, our best memory of him is with the 49ers. Dude gets the ball out of his hands really fast. Carr seems to hold on to it a little bit. And I don't know if that's what we want, right? That's where Stafford will hold on, but Stafford also has a tendency to make his offensive line look better than it is. I think Derek Carr can bring out the worst in an offensive line because I think he holds on to it too long. I'll take correction on that. But that's what I'm feeling. I did hear a rumor today that the Jets might be interested in Derek Carr as a bridge quarterback. But then again, Kellen Moore just went to New Orleans. In his press conference, they kind of tried to get him to commit to Derek Carr. They didn't. But who are they going to turn to in New Orleans? Spencer Rattler? Are they going to, make a play for a quarterback in this draft, which is not a deep quarterback draft? So some of those rumors are really, really interesting. Let's keep rolling here so we get to the 40-minute mark. Again, I screwed up. I was corrected. I think it was Mr. Burns that corrected me. Rams home games this year are Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, Saints, Buccaneers, Texans, Colts, Lions. I had it inverted. The away games, Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, Panthers, East Coast, Falcons, indoors, Jaguars, East Coast, and then you got the Titans and Tennessee, of course, and then Eagles and Ravens. And depending on when those games are played, last time we played the Ravens we've played them. This will be the third time in 2023. That was the punt return game where you're allowed to block in the back and get a punt return for a touchdown in Baltimore to beat the Rams. That one I broke a few things. I broke the other version of this mug that day. And then there was the OBJ game in 2021, fourth down. OBJ made the great catch, and the Rams won. So third time in a row, Rams are going to Baltimore, and that could be a snow game. And then, of course, they get the Eagles again. Some people are projecting maybe Eagles-Rams on Thursday night to open the season. And then I also heard the idea was the Rams and Eagles are kind of slated to play in Australia in 2026. So would they open two seasons in a row with the Rams and Eagles? And something to think about. Do you think the Eagles are a team that's on the cusp of running off several titles? That would be something to talk about on Monday. Okay, looked at the mock drafts, just going through. Talked about 11 mock drafts, 10 mock drafts that we've looked at, and 7 of them they're not creative. They're always looking at the Rams taking offensive linemen. So I found this one from NFL.com. They posted it. It was by Dan Parr, one of their writers. And at number 26, he had the Rams taking Missouri receiver Luther Burden III, 5'11", 205, big play guy with wheels, and fits kind of the Rams stuff. I don't know how he is as a blocker, but I've heard other people talking about him. This is the first mock draft that projected him there. And that would be an interesting thing. That would be interesting comparing him, Puka, and Jordan Whittington, right? Something to think about. Same draft, mock draft, Parr, NFL.com, had Cam Ward number 1 to the Titans. We've seen Cam Ward everywhere 1 through 3. I haven't seen him beyond 3. Abdul Carter, number 2 to the Browns. Number 3, Travis Hunter to the Giants. That could be interesting. And then number 6, Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders, which is becoming a trend. And I guess Shedeur Sanders was asked a question about going to the Raiders at number 6, and he was emphatic about saying, I'm not going to last that long. Interesting. Number 10, Armand Membo, the Bears trend is happening there. He's the Missouri lineman. Josh Simmons, 49ers trend. Ashton Genty, I think this was a trade with the Browns at number 12. And I thought that was interesting that they project the Browns taking Abdul Carter at number 2 and Ashton Genty at number 12. It looks a little bit like draft day, right? Devontae Mack and who was it? Ray, someone from Florida State. I forgot. Brown royalty. Number 15, they broke the trend. Tyler Warren going to the Broncos. I thought that was interesting to pair him up with Bo Nix. And then they had the Chargers making a trade and moving up to 16 and taking Colston Loveland, the Michigan tight end, who's getting a lot of pub lately. But I thought it was a creative draft. I thought it was a little more creative than some of the other ones I saw. I thought it was somebody that maybe Dan Parr took into consideration. Good chance the Rams bring back Alaric Jackson. So, again, something to think about. All right, let's see. Manuel Vasquez. Carr is too passive, and I don't really see him as a leader. He doesn't have that it factor. There is something, yes, his career has gone on. He's just become a little more, whatever kind of guy. So I don't know what that means. I don't know why, but, there was a moment there. Remember when he got the Raiders to the playoffs and broke his leg the week before? And who did they start? Cook or Josh Hoyer? I don't know who they started in that playoff game. After that, it's been a struggle, right? After that, it's been a struggle. It would be interesting to see if Derek Carr ended up as the bridge quarterback with the Jets to see if Devontae Adams stays. They didn't stick too long together in Las Vegas. Maybe they could reunite in New York. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, what wide receivers are in the draft? Wow, dude, I can't go over all that right now. If you go to midvalleysports.com, look at pro football, type in, you'll see Ram notes. You can click on there. And Tim Burns has done some work. Actually, I'm sitting on some work that Tim Burns has done on some of the receivers, and I'm going to try to get that posted this weekend. Yeah, so that's where we're at on that. A lot of receivers. We could talk about that in the next episode. I wanted to talk about quarterbacks today. So Steve Ramirez took my thunder there, talking about mock drafts and seeing if the Rams could actually trade Stafford for the 3rd overall pick, and didn't seem to wash out on any of those sites. On this day, 1974, the Rams hire Elijah Pitts as a running back coach. He was with the Packers in some of their glory years in the 60s, and he replaced Dick Vermeil, who left the Rams to go become the head coach at UCLA. 2012, on this day, the Rams hire Les Snead as the club's 17th GM. Wow. Think of some of the GMs the Rams have had: Pete Rozelle, Elroy Hirsch, Don Klosterman, John Shaw, Dick Vermeil, whatever. Then a whole lot of nothing. So Les Snead has not had a nice run, and I think the best thing that happened is Stan Kroenke got control of the team. We got a quality GM that's been allowed to develop on the job, right? We'll forgive him for Greg Robinson, and we'll go from there. But, Les Snead, his 13th anniversary with the Rams. Also on this day in 2022, Eric Weddle officially retires from the NFL, getting one of these things, getting a ring. I'm not going to be on the air tomorrow, but wanted to mention that February 15th, 2002, this was a scary day. The Rams had already lost Super Bowl 36, and then Azir Hakim, London Fletcher, and Ricky Prohl all became free agents. Hakim, remember Zahir Hakim? He was so fast. He signed with the Lions, and London Fletcher signed with the Bills. London Fletcher, that's a guy that belongs in the Hall. Rams never got over losing him. And born on February 15th, which is tomorrow, happy birthday to John Hadel, born in 1940. Jim Nettles, defensive back, born in 1942. Steve Priest, the guy that went for the interception instead of the hit on Drew Pearson in the 73 playoffs. He was born on February 15th, 1947. And Irv Pankey, who was the lockdown left tackle for the Rams throughout the decade of the 80s, often forgotten, out of Penn State. Rams got value there. I think Pankey was taken, third round, I think? Yeah, just had to get that in there. All right, I think we got it all in. We've hit the 48-minute mark. I'll hang out for another minute and a half. Whoa, RJ, hi from Sweden. My man, thank you for clicking on from Sweden. That's awesome. Please hit like, hit subscribe, and come in with your questions. I was asked today, would I rather shovel snow or mow a lawn in 101-degree heat? And I'd rather mow the lawn. I've mowed the lawn in 101-degree heat. I've always wanted to shovel snow, and I would love to go to Scandinavia. So thank you from Sweden. That's pretty awesome. All right, we'll add you to the map. I got Indonesia. I got Costa Rica. I got Canada. This is cool. Thank you so much. RJ, to fill the football hole, our very modest Super League starts in April. Oh, that's great. Is that can we find that on YouTube somewhere, RJ? That would be interesting to see. We've had a lot of players from where we are in Southern California, from the San Gabriel Valley. I've covered a bunch of players that have ended up going to Switzerland, made whole lives in Hungary, in France, playing ball in Europe. I had one kid played in Switzerland, actually played in Japan, some pro ball, and it's fascinating stuff. All right, I'll be sure to check that out. RJ, are you from Sweden, or are you relocated from here to Sweden? And I'd be curious to know, are you in Stockholm? Michael Negretti, we need a panky. Yeah, we do need a panky. Yeah, we do. We could use Irv Panky again. All right, guys, we've hit the 50-minute mark. Be sure to follow us from the RamCave on Spotify. I'm looking into whatever it can to increase our footprint there. Be sure to check out midvalleysports.com for Ram content and football content, sports content. It's the old site that I helped start many years ago. I'm just kind of doing some log rolling and working for them now. I don't call the shots over there. RJ relocated from the Netherlands to Sweden. All right. So you love American football. That's awesome. All right, guys. I realized I did not have this in my description. This is my email. If you guys are interested in sending me an email, please send me an email, and we'll go from there. There is a European league, absolutely. But yeah, send me any info or questions you guys have. If you have a mock draft, send me your mock draft. I'll be happy to share it on the air. I think it's fascinating. I don't look for mock drafts to be 100% right, but what I do like about mock drafts, it kind of gives us a consensus of what everybody is feeling, right? All right, cool. I think I better get out of here. It is Valentine's Day. I'm going to a French restaurant with my wife. God bless. Take care. Check my books out on Amazon. We will see you soon.